I read 37 books in the month of June. 37 books in the month of June. How did I do that? How did I read 37 books in the month of June? Well, so first I would say, why did I do that? Also, you're going to notice that several of these videos, at least the first ones, I have on the same clothes. Guess what? I just decided to sit down and make these videos and just get it done. And no, I didn't switch shirts or anything. At some point, I might make that effort, but not today. So, I decided to read. It really started, June is my birthday month, and I decided that I was reading in the beginning of the month. I was finishing some books, and I decided at the beginning of the month, I have got all these books out that I haven't finished yet, and I thought I would really like to just finish some things I've started. So I just started doing that. And so the first 2 or 3, 4 days of the month, I had several books, like already 3, 4 books, 5 books maybe that I'd finished. I was like, ooh, this is my birthday month. Wouldn't it be cool if I was able to read a book, complete a book for every day of the month of this month of June, of my birthday month? Wouldn't that be fun? And I decided right there in the first week of the month that's what I was going to do. And so I just set out to do it. Now, a couple of these books, and I don't even know if I could tell you which ones. I might be able to. But a couple of these books were books that I was reading on paper, like a physical copy. I just don't remember which ones they were right now. But most of these were books that I listened to. And I know that there's kind of a controversy about that. There's a controversy between, is it really reading if you listen to the book? And there are some people who say, no, it's not really reading if you listen to the book. And then there are some people who say, yes, you're consuming books. Whether you are reading this book, or you are physically reading this book, or you are, whether you're physically reading this book, or you're listening to this book, or you're reading this book on a Kindle or a Kobo, or someone is reading this book to you, you are consuming the book. Therefore, we can say you're completing books. And it's not reading in the sense that you're looking at the words, but you are consuming books. You're consuming stories. You are taking part in the experience that this author is offering to us. And so I count that. So maybe we should call it something different. We should call it, I completed this book. Maybe, we shouldn't call it I read this book. Because we always said I read this book. Back in the day, we were always reading books. Maybe we should say I completed this book. Okay, that's possible. But you're still completing a book. You're still part of the experience. And so I value that as much as someone who sits down and opens a book and reads it. I truly do. So I'm going to say I completed 37 books in the month of June. Every single day, I would listen to a book, and when I finished it, I would immediately start the next book. And I did that for, the entire month. And I got into at the end, I was really, really still very interested in some of these books. And I remember the last one that I consumed was On Moonberry Lake. I remember that. And I remember it was such a good experience. That book was just a whole experience for me. And I thought, I can't top this right now. I want to end this month having had that experience. And so that's what I chose to do. I chose to stop at book 37. But I still had time. I could have gone further. So I consumed 37 books in the month of June, and primarily by listening. The reason that I could listen like that is because I work as an entrepreneur. I work here on the farm. I'm here. So, and I'm, able to listen. I'm not typically working with someone else. So I'm able to listen. Because if I am working with someone else, I can't listen. So that is how I consumed 37 books. It was a really good experience. I enjoyed it. I was surprised that I was able to do it. I felt like, wow, this is exciting. I can remember the stories, as I look at the titles. I remember them. I remember how I felt about them. Some of them I really liked. Some of them I did not really like. Some of them were just okay, And I think there were a couple books that I decided to DNF. They just weren't for me, or I couldn't get into them well enough at that moment to finish them. Most of the time, I had a rule. This was most of the time. Most of the time I had a rule. And in that rule, I would say, is it an audiobook? Is it available? I used Audible, but I also used Hoopla, and I used Libby. And primarily, I used Hoopla and Libby. And I said, is it something I already have access to? Like, it's on Hoopla, it's on Libby, or I already have it purchased on Audible. So that was one of the rules. Is it an Audible book? Can I borrow it? Is it available? Is it something I don't have a physical copy of here? Is it something I've never read before? Those were the rules that I set for myself. And so when I would go to look, typically I would just open up, I'd just open up Libby. I'd start going down. I had tagged books in different genres, and I would just go grab the genre that I wanted to grab at that moment, and then I would look at it, just look through the list, and the first book that I had in that list that fit all of those criteria, I would borrow and start listening right then. And so there were times I had no clue what the book was about. I just would start experiencing it, and that was fun too. I really liked that. So will I do this again? I don't know. Part of me would really like to challenge myself and see if I could go further. If I could go perhaps, like next year I turn 55. Could I do 55 books in a month? Could I hit that? I don't know. Maybe. I would have to work at it from a different angle, but I might be able to. So I don't know if I'll ever try to have a book for every day of the month again. I don't know. It was fun. I did it. And if I never do it again, I've already done it. And I think another challenge would really be, that I think would be interesting, would be to see if I can only physically read a physical copy of a book, not even Kobo or Kindle, because I can read faster on those than I can a physical copy of a book. I would like to do a physical copy of a book How many physical copy books could I read in a month? That would be a fun challenge to do. I would like to do that challenge. I would like to do, how many Kindle books could I read in a month? I would like to see that. What are the amounts? I think that would be fun, to try those. So, or Kobo, Kindle or Kobo. And I almost think, maybe 1 month, how many Kindle books could I read? 1 month, how many Kobo books could I read? 1 month, how many physical copy books could I read? And I think it would be interesting to see if there were differences, especially between Kobo and Kindle. I think that would be very interesting to see what the differences really were. So that's kind of, if I do the challenge again, I kind of think it would need to be something like that. So that's kind of what I'm looking at, to be honest with you. That may be what I do. But it was fun. So that's all I have to say about that for now. Later.